See if I can see it on my Facebook.
Okay, so I'm also going to record it just for
Yeah,
good
absolutely.
measure. So we'll just do that. So we'll welcome everybody. I'm not sure, we'll do part 1, part 2, as far as the sharing. So welcome to the Theta Healing Power Hour. Mark and I were just talking about it's live now. Okay, so welcome to the Theta Healing Power Hour. We were just talking about how there's a bunch of solar flares and everything else going on, and how that's been affecting the electronics. And then sure enough, we were like, and we're down, and we were just laughing going, okay, however that works, right? So I'm Brenda B. Bailey. I do this on a weekly basis. Here Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Central Daylight Savings Time. And what I love is that having been an entrepreneur for 28 years, I have met a lot of interesting, dynamic, just influential, my Rolodex is impressive. That's all I will say. And it really makes for me being able to be able to reconnect with people and chat with them, and then also just kind of find out what's new while we're doing the interview. So I'm kind of doing a couple of, killing a couple of birds with one stone. I'm not going to lie. And so what we'll do is that after you get to hear all about Mark, we'll do a little theta healing work at the end. So we're going to bypass the conscious and subconscious mind. We're going to do some cellular work, and I don't know what Mark's going to throw in. We'll just see what ends up happening. But we will, the thing to know is that please like it, share it, tag people who you feel like would benefit from hearing about getting unstuck in relationships. And also too, keep in mind that even if you're watching this live or on a replay, all you have to do is just say yes out loud, and you'll be able to get any work that happens here. So usually with my mainstream guests, but I've had some fun with my healers as well. So this is who I get to bring on today. And so just to tell you a little bit about Mark Hernandez, he is the owner and founder of Peoples and Pets Energetics. He is a holistic practitioner that helps people and animals and spaces that have hit the wall with health and well-being issues. He uses non-invasive energy medicine, modalities, and tools to help his clients experience change in a gentle and safe fashion. At times, they experience changes immediately, and in some instances, over time. He's certified in the emotion code, the body code, and advanced ASH work. He has talked about and demonstrated his work at the San Antonio Microsoft Store and events such as the Body, Mind, Spirit Expo, the San Antonio Holistic Festival, and numerous holistic fairs in Greater Chicago and the Midwest. He's also been a guest on online radio shows, podcasts, and local Chicago TV, because that's where he lives now, in which he discusses work as a holistic practitioner and does many healings with live callers. So in May of 2019, he launched the People and Pets Show, a weekly online radio show where he interviews leading figures in energy medicine, energy healing for people, animal, and spaces. So day by day, people are choosing to assume a greater role in their health and well-being. I would agree with that. And Mark's works help people experience more health, happiness, joy, and freedom in their everyday lives. So welcome, Mark.
Thanks, Brenda. Thanks for the invitation to be on your show. It's great to be with you and your community.
Well, I always see Mark and his posts about the pets, and is it Pets and People Energetics? Sorry, I'm not looking at my notes now.
Yeah, that's
you can
fine.
Tell. And so, I think it was so funny because Mark was just saying, we're talking about getting unstuck in relationships, but he was saying here that lately he's been getting a lot of calls about animals as well, which, I'm not going to lie, I probably spend more money on my dog than I do myself, including my cat, because those are always important. But his subject that he chose was getting unstuck in relationships. And I feel like that, again, it always comes back to who we are as humans and who we are as in relationship with everyone, including our animals. So Mark, tell me, what do you feel like are the 3 most common reasons that people get stuck in their relationships?
Yeah, so as we know, there are a variety of reasons people get stuck in their relationships. I think the most common reasons are usually memories from childhood, early memories they saw from modeling from their parents or their family. That can be one reason. Another reason people get stuck in their relationship, reason two, would be unresolved. Also, often I see heartbreak. So let's say someone's 50, it may have happened when they were 16 and they've been carrying around 36 years. That's very common. So some type of trauma. And the third reason, especially for people who have done a lot of spiritual work or on a spiritual journey, with the ascension, with people expanding in consciousness, they're feeling other energies from other timelines, past lives, parallel lives, future lives. So I'm often seeing that this is a pattern they've been repeating lifetime after lifetime. So those are some of the main reasons.
Right. And this is the thing. And like I said, earlier, Mark and I do, have different modalities and different tools and techniques that we utilize. We work a lot on the same things with people. And there are many roads to get where we need to get. But I would say, because we all know I'm all about theta healing, is that Mark uses some really great techniques as well that have really profound. And, because the thing is that when you're working, I think a lot of times people show up and they're like, I want you, I need to work on this, right? And they just want to work energetically, right? They just want to work. And the deal is, it's like, even with emotion code, which is a great technique that Mark also uses, you got to deal with the emotion as well. And so it just helps it to where you're dealing with the in-present emotion. A lot of the techniques that we use allow people, because what happens, and like what Mark just said, what we learned in childhood, what we brought in from past lives. If you believe in that, and if you don't, it's okay. We can still work with you, right? And because it doesn't really matter where it comes from, right? Just as long as it gets cleared, just as long as it gets healed. And so, when you clear a lot of that energetically, and then you use something like emotion code that can deal with the emotions that are about the present. That's what really, again, Mark's going to be like, she's hijacking my deal. A lot of times I feel like that people get stuck, right? I'm kidding with you, is that they're dealing with lifetimes and they're dealing with, years, it just depends on where it's coming from, or centuries, right? Depending on what we've inherited. So when you look at that, like, we have to say our tipping point is low here, right? Because it's so much. But when you clear a lot of it and it's just about the present moment, then a technique like emotion code, body code, ASH, which it's not a really well-known one, but very fascinating. Those are the ones that just kind of, and you're like, oh my God, he did that in minutes, But it's because, well, when we deal with what's presently going on, it only takes minutes. It's just that nobody knows how to do like all of the other.
Yeah, I'd like to add too, like you said, emotion code, body code, founded by Dr. Bradley Nelson. The original versions, the standard quote unquote pure version, is this lifetime. And what I've just saw by working with clients is that I was asking, it wasn't quite resolving. I knew with those tools to look at other timelines too. Like, because the body code includes offensive energies, like spiritual imbalances. I often found they were in other timelines, and just by asking through intention, because theta healing, body code, emotion code, other modalities, it all comes from God, source, creator, however you want to see the divine, because that's where the healing comes from. And our modality is a tool to connect with the divine, to facilitate the healing. So, I just learned through my own discovery by asking the questions, I was getting more permanent results for my clients.
Agreed. And this is where this comes into place, guys. Like, again, emotion code, body code, theta healing, whatever the modality, you want to vet your healer the same way you would anybody else, right? So if you were going to a lawyer, or if you were, hiring a coach, or if you were, you want to ask some questions. What are their experience? How long have they been doing it? Is this their gig? Like, is this what they do full time? Because what Mark's talking about is what somebody discovers who does it for a living. who does it full time, who works with lots of clients and works on themselves. Again, he's going like this because he knows like what I'm saying, and I'm sure that Mark's had this experience, and I'm just going to throw it out there as well. I can't tell you how many times, again, prior to, the pandemic and the quarantine, where I'd be talking to somebody in person, they'd be like, oh yeah, I know theta healing. And I knew from that reaction that they didn't know about theta healing from me. Because that's what I help people who have theta healing, work with me, react or act. And I'm sure, the same thing, because like with body code and emotion code, yes, you can learn it on a video, just like EFT or any of them. And again, if you're using it for yourself and you want to use it like in a, but there's still there's a lot of benefit to use it with somebody who actually has the experience behind it. Am I the best theta healer? Is Mark the best? We're probably pretty close because we do it a lot. I'm just saying. I'll speak for Mark. He's good at what he does, right?
I think a lot of it is the healer, like you said. Yeah, vet your healers like you would anyone, lawyer, doctor, or whatever type of service you're looking for. Because there's a time and place. Like maybe client number one loves my work or your work. For client number two, it just may not be the time or fit for the moment, And I always tell my clients, I want what's for the best and highest good for you and for all concerned. So maybe at this time, I'm not the best fit. Let's find you someone that is the optimal fit for where you're at right now.
Absolutely. I always say, if I can give you some information as well, and I know Mark's the same way, about anything that we do, we may not be your healer at this point in time.
Yeah.
But we can help you. Like if you want to connect with either one of us, because I'm not, I don't have to be your healer, right? I refer Mark a lot. I refer a lot of other people because I'm not what they wanted, or they wanted something more specific that I knew somebody had more of a specialty. If people want animal work, there are two people that I refer, and one of them is Mark Hernandez. And I'm going to tell you that right now, because I know that that's not my area of specialty, and I'd rather them work with somebody who actually has people and pets energetics in their title, right? Like that's who they work with. That's their specialty, as well as what I know. And as far as because Mark is fascinating and he's very intelligent, so again, who we vibe with, who can meet with us where we're at. And so when we're talking about relationship issues, Mark, again, because we can't help people unless they're aware.
Right.
So how does somebody know when they're stuck? And how would it benefit them to work with an advanced energy medicine practitioner like yourself?
Yeah. So let's just take an example of a romantic relationship. A guy or woman, whatever, dates someone, and the relationship's always in the same way. You just kind of know it's a pattern. You said, I knew this was going to happen, so that's one indicator, okay? That, the pattern keeps repeating. Something's going on at a deeper level than, why do all the relationships, quote unquote, look the same? That's one indicator. I think, or in workplace situations, some of us have been in workplace situations where the pattern repeats. Someone is in a professional job, they've done everything for the promotions, and they're always getting denied, okay? That's another indicator that they're stuck and could use some energetic support.
Absolutely. And what what I love about what Mark and I are talking about right now is that I'll say me, and then Mark can agree if he wants to, I won't speak for him, is that I just want to expand like why you would want to go see somebody. I think that somebody thinks that they only need to go to like a healer if they're dying, or if they've got something physically that they, don't want to go to a doctor for, and then that's it. But there are so many ways that you can be supported and helped in your day-to-day life, that especially when you see the repeating patterns.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Talk about the entrepreneurship world since you brought it up. Yeah. So maybe someone's in sales. That's a central part of their job or the work they do. and they always keep attracting kind of very difficult clients. Okay, there's a pattern. So you can see energetically, okay, because like sales and marketing, yes, it's good to have the left brain knowledge of the mechanics, yes, yes. But if you've done all that and you're still seeing the same pattern repeat in your professional life, something's going on at the energetic level.
Right. So attracting the same type of clients or customers or bosses
Yeah,
or opportunities, right? I mean, like,
yeah,
just again, just planting some seeds to expand some people's minds on, oh, again, because repeating patterns aren't just like in one way or a certain way. And, you know, I always say how we do anything is how we do everything. So when you see it in one place, I promise you it's in a lot of other places, which makes the work like that Mark does profound, because when you when you work with just the one place that the person's coming to talk to, and then it's just like a domino effect or that Jenga piece that just allows all that other that's just built up to collapse.
yeah. The way I talk about it, and I like that analogy too, is I could say ripple effects. Yes, I think it's always better to have at least a specific focus as an entry point. And often, we're working with issue number one. It'll take us to other areas of their life that they didn't. They go, oh yeah, that's been going on. That's been going on, and it does have ripple effects throughout people's life.
Absolutely. So Mark, give us some idea, like how do you help people get unstuck in your
Yeah.
work?
So, when like you said, I mentioned the body code, emotion code, I use the body code a lot and some other ash work. So let's just say stuck in a relationship, the pattern I mentioned about, always dating the same type of person, and it always kind of ends the same way with betrayal or whatever. So I'll ask them, okay, give me a little bit of information. How long has pattern been going on? If they're coming to me, it's usually been a long time, like 15 years. Okay, how severe, how much pain or discomfort is causing your life? 0, no pain, discomfort; 10, pain to the max. If they're seeing me, it's a minimum of 8, usually 10 or higher. So with that information, we'll just use that as one example. First thing I do is test that they're energetically testable, which means their spine's aligned, properly hydrated. I test on myself because it's faster. I get quick answers, and connect with God, source, creator, my light team, archangels, because I'm very clear. That's where the healing comes from. So with that information, I connect and ask the body, the subconscious mind, reason for this relationship pattern. Oh, emotional, heartbreak, age 10. Anything on mine? Yes. My grandfather died. I was very close to him at age 10. Let me see. The body will tell me, yep, let's clear that. Through intention, 1, 2, 3, gone. Keep asking the body. I see a lot of emotional stuff, toxicity, cell phone radiation, Wi-Fi. And then sometimes, like I said, it takes me to other timelines. Oh, there was a pattern of betrayal in your past and parallel lives. I see a lot of things happening in parallel lives right now. So just clear. I keep on going until the body will say whether completely done with the issue today or done for now. So if it's a relationship issue, I'll say, okay, how does a relationship feel now? Same or different? I go, oh, my heart feels lighter. I feel like more in my feet, whatever. Everyone will have a different experience. And then, I'll ask them to just keep track over the next days and weeks, what they notice showing up. So that's how it kind of works.
Well, and what is so, interesting about this, and what I want to like, I guess, like put it put like this, or like say highlight this part. This is the thing. We get a lot of information, right?
Oh,
And I don't want to discount it, because sometimes an awareness allows us to change.
mm-hmm.
Because what we're not aware of, we can't make a difference. Like if you're not aware, it's not in your field for you, for anything to happen to be different. The beautiful thing about like doing, body emotion code, ash work, theta healing, is that we become aware of what you're not aware of. Like you're telling us like how it's showing up in your life,
Yeah.
and um, and what you may think it is, it's not.
Mm-mm.
And a lot of times people are shocked to know what the root was. And that's if it presents itself. And if not, you can just have it healed, right? Like, it's like
Yeah.
information is lovely. And a lot of times what ends up happening is that People will come to me and they'll say, and I'm sure Mark's gotten this too, I was like a pharaoh in a past life and I was
Mhm.
killed. Okay, well, that's interesting, and it's a great, anecdote at a party, but what is that information going to do for you?
Exactly.
Knowing
Yeah.
that, what is it going to do for you? Now, was it that you were, stabbed in the back and killed, and now it's kind of unfolded in your life like this? Again, what is that information going to do for you?
Yeah.
It's when
What I'm
somebody can
finding.
change it.
Mhm. Yeah, what I'm finding right now, at least in 2020, is again, time and place for everything. So some people love past life regressions, usually an hour and a half session or whatever, which is fine. What I'm usually finding, if it takes me to past life, it's a pretty quick cleanup of that timeline. We usually don't need too much information, maybe just a little bit, like 10 or 15 seconds, maybe often less. And just, do I have permission to clear it? Yes. One, two, three, gone. So again, I'm all about, I guess, also results like how much of this do we need to know in 2020? Maybe at a different time it was important, more levels, but I've been finding over the last 3 years, a lot of people's issues overall in general are clearing faster than earlier in time.
I would agree. Things are accelerating. I mean, it is unfortunate that we are going through a pandemic and so many other things are happening and things are getting escalated, but a lot of it is coming up to be healed.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
unfortunately, a lot of people aren't paying attention or being aware or are awake. And sometimes, it's kind of like we have to be shaken in order to wake up. And it's painful, especially because a lot of things I feel like at this time, I'm sure Mark would agree, are painful that are coming up for people.
Oh yeah, people are going through a lot. I mean, these are very turbulent times for many people in many different ways. We see it every day on, when I peek at the TV, at least to know what's going on. But there's a lot going on. So, and more's coming.
And,
Yeah.
as I say, I'm an empath with very strong boundaries. Like, I don't really have to feel into people unless they're wanting me to, like in order for me to be able to help them and understand them better, to be able to heal. So like that turns off most of the time. I don't need to know what's going on with checker at the grocery store, whatever, or person who I'm picking up my groceries from, that type of thing. It's like I don't need that. I don't need to have that around all the time. But there are just times that it is just like opening up and popping up and I'm going, oh, okay. Like that I'm not having, most for decades I've had, like I'm not my choice, not going to do this. It's not my choice right now.
Hmm.
And in some ways, and again, not every day, not all the time, not for hours or whatever, but it's just like I have this awareness, and in my mind, what I say, Mark, and I don't know if you have this experience, I kind of go, wow, if this is affecting me like this, what is happening with everybody else who doesn't have the tools and the
Yeah.
experience that I have, or
Yeah.
Mark, to be able to move through it, which I feel like is also why is like making things so like, you know, and what it's also like when we're talking about unstuck and, being stuck in a relationship and how to get unstuck in a relationship. These are kind of the things that are coming up for people
Oh yeah.
as they're having to sit still.
I think especially now with relationships, like, overall, again, not everyone, but many people have been spending more time with their family at home. A lot of the old surface energies are coming up, or even spending more time with their pets. The pets are getting used to them being around, and now some are starting to be able to return to the physical workplace. The pets are feeling it. And I even think for those, as we know, a lot of people have been, knocked out of their jobs, that relationships are really going to be the key because sure, you can go to monster.com or whatever and apply to this or that, but in the end it's your relationships, your connection to other people that will help you guide you to the appropriate opportunities.
Which, you know, caveat or go down a little
Sure.
bit deeper, our relationships with others stem from our relationship with ourselves, right?
Absolutely.
And so when you can heal, all of these, different things like that we're talking about, or instances, or because again, some of this is just information. You're like, okay, but when you can actually heal it, it allows, again, the world to reflect you. So again, you want to know what you need to heal? See what's in your life now.
Yeah.
Look at
And
what's
again,
going on.
yeah, these quote unquote current issues are just gateways into the bigger issues that are going on in your energetic field. So it'll take us to wherever we go, often, as you said earlier, not to places we thought were the issues, but they are the root causes.
And and I think that that's also true. I think it's also why people are like, I don't know why this feels so big for me, or I don't know why this feels so important, or what's all going on in the world, right? That it's like, you know. So, do you have any stories that you want to share, Mark,
Connected
about
to,
relationships?
yeah. Can I share a pet story? People's relationships to their pets? Would that be okay?
Well, he knows I'm not going to say no to that. So
Okay. I hope the audience will enjoy it.
I
So
care.
it's been
Who
kind of,
doesn't? I know who doesn't want to hear. Yes, we're all like,
yeah. So it's been interesting, when I started my business in 2013, people and pets energetics. Originally, I thought it'd be, a consultation for a person, a consultation for an animal. Okay, kind of distinct. As my work has evolved, I've noticed that when I was working with pets, you know, pets can definitely have their own life issues. Okay. But also their issues often stem with their relationship with their humans, the
right.
energies going on with the humans, the household. Now, over like the last 5 months, there's been a new spin on this. So lately, the pets, I call them the pets when I'm working on a pet. Um, I find that they're serving, I call them the pet as a pointer to a human or sometimes another animal that needs healing. So what I found is, when I first started out, usually during a session, 95% of the time was exclusively for the pet, 5% for the human. Right now, it's about 70-30. Okay, so it's shifting. So I've noticed that I've had some cases where so the pet is presenting like excessive barking. Okay, but what's going on is the main pet parent has some things going on affecting the pet. Even the former partner from 8 years ago went through a divorce. I found that this pet was proxying, doing healing work on behalf of that ex-partner. So what I find is, the pets are very complex too. They have their own levels of complexity. Yeah, some are just the pets issues, but I'm finding that they've evolved, and it often stems with their relationship with the humans.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Like yes. It was. The thing that I find, because again, the world is our mirror.
Yeah.
Everybody in our environment, all the beings in our environment, and they point us to, and our little animals or our big animals, whoever they are, they just love us
Oh
and they
yeah.
just want to help us. And
Absolutely.
so they're just like, because again, like I said, I think I spent, in fact, my mom just said that. I think you take better care of your animals than you do you. We were laughing, and I said,
Mhm.
"Oh, I would agree with that." So I feel like that they kind of reciprocate, right, and showing us like, "Hello, look at this." And again, you're going for your pet, and then you find out like you're working on yourself, and can't fault Mark or me for that, right? It's like, because I know it
Yeah.
happens way more for Mark because he works more with animals. It's like, it just is. So there you go. And then again, that energy changes and things get to change.
Yeah, and people like it. It's kind of like a little bonus because they came in for their pet, but they get a little few mini healings here and there, and I got a bonus. I said, yeah, that's because our focus is on the pets, and in order to help your pet, we need to help you, and with your permission, and the other person, if someone else, always ask permission, even energetically, and sometimes I get a no, so I have some kind of workarounds to help the pet, without respecting the free will of the individual that could use some healing, but it doesn't want it, and that's fine. So yeah.
Yeah. And that's also a beautiful thing, again, to hear, to notice when you're vetting. It's like you really only, or you don't, again, but for myself, having been around 13 different certifications in integrative healing, having been around this field, it's like I really only want to work with people who respect my wishes.
Hmm. Oh,
or my
absolutely.
subconscious or my higher being, and are complimentary and respectful. There are a lot of people running around out there that just doing a bunch of healing that nobody wants, right? And it doesn't jive. And in fact, a lot of times it can cause more complications or more, you know, ickiness. I don't know. I mean, sorry for the technical word.
No, very important. Last several months, I had a client that called me going through a divorce, wanted me to work with the partner. Said, you can work. I said, I need the partner's explicit permission. Have the person contact me because I said that's very important. Because also, people are on their own journeys. It's so important to respect the free will. I always ask for explicit consent to work with people. I'm very, very careful. It's a no energetically, it's a no. So I had this person, trying to do a workaround. Yes, da 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 da. I said, no, it's a firm no. I would need to hear from your partner to work with the person.
Well, and I always kiddingly say, you know, over the years back when, again, we were meeting in person and I would go like to a networking event,
Yeah.
I would inevitably have a female, right, who would want to have like a coffee with me, like, you know, wanted to sit down and talk to me. I'd be like, you know, great. And they would want to sit down and tell me why their husbands needed to come see me, right? Like I would just
Yeah.
be having, and I would be sitting there and I'd be, you know, kind of, you know, just smiling. And I'd say, well, you know, the world is our mirror. And if you would like to see some changes with him, maybe you might want to work on yourself
Yeah.
and see what would happen, right? And they would, and they'd be like, damn, she was right, you know?
Yeah, I want to talk about, so when people come to me with relationship, let's just say a mother-daughter, father-son. So let's just say it's the father comes to me, wants to improve his relationship. Things aren't going too well from. So I said, always say, okay, I can work with your piece of the relationship because your son has free will. I don't have his, unless he's a minor,
Right.
I have to respect his free will. So I said, and we'll work on your stuff, exactly what you said. Let's see what shows up in the relationship. Often people will give me stories like, wow, my father called me for the first time in, you know, 15 years, like in 2 days. I mean, everyone's different, but I've seen that.
Agreed. Because we, again, just pointing it out energetically, what we're holding in place. And then when you heal it, when you clear it, things get to be different.
Yeah.
And it's so funny how that happens. And it is boggling how quickly it happens, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and how easy, right? Like, you know, I always say, because I have a lot of people who come, like they realize like that they have like hit an, you know, a ceiling
Yeah,
on their income, right? A
sure.
lot of times, because that's like where my area is that I
Yeah.
love to work with people, and they don't realize like that there are just some things that if we just clear, it just opens everything else up,
It
and it
kind of
can be that
resets them and
easy.
opens up a new set of possibilities, kind of a reset. And then you have the full choice rather than think you just have option A or B and either one you like.
Absolutely. And you know, the deal is that I often look at people and say, well, you know, oh, this happened and that happened and this happened. What was the common denominator in this?
Mhm.
It's usually that person and their energy,
Yeah.
right? So that's when you can clear that, then that common denominator gets to shift. And again, like we were talking about, that little pebble in the water and vibrate out and
Mhm.
have some differences.
Absolutely.
So Mark and I can go on and on about like what all can happen. But you know what I want to find out, because apparently Mark's got some great things in the pipeline here, right?
Yeah.
So how are you seeing, Mark, where your work is heading in the next year or two? And just for
Yeah.
fun, because she's
Yeah.
popped up, she's here to
Oh,
say hello to you,
Chula.
Mark.
The Chula, my favorite. I always ask Brenda when I've seen her shows, ¿Dónde está Chula? Where's Chula? And so uh,
Aquí, aquí.
aquí, muy bien, muy bien. Yeah, she's adorable. So thank you for bringing Chula on. I know,
She like she did a
she
little
makes
segment
cameo
with,
appearances, so I'm honored that she made
yeah,
one.
she rarely makes appearances with other
Yeah,
people, but
yeah,
with Mark, yeah,
thank you.
he's one
Yeah,
of our peeps. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, so where's my work heading in the next 1 to 2 years? I see, and we talked about this a little bit, that you know, the, the quality of a healer is kind of correlated also with the amount of spiritual work he or she has done for himself. It's a journey. It's definitely been an evolution. So as I, like any human being, continue to clear out my own stuff, I find that I've been given more gifts from the divine, like stronger intuition. People are feeling that healing's faster. Again, this all comes from God, source creator. So I think things are going to get even faster in the next 1 to 2 years, which would be great for people. And then the other thing, I'm starting to develop a series of MP3s. Like very soon, I'll be releasing a set of energetic MP3s called the uh, energetic daily energetic hygiene package, because we all need to keep our field clear on a daily basis, like you said, especially if we're healers, all the more so, because yes, we're protective and all that. But sometimes some things stick. I speak for myself. But even if you're not a healer, there's so many energies like EMFs, Wi-Fi, spiritual things going on that it's really very important to keep a clean energy field. So I'll be releasing that probably the next couple of months. Um,
Be on
and
the lookout.
and I'm going to start my book on pet energetics. I think, I work with people, animals, and spaces, and I think the pet work continues to evolve and will, and I'm going to be talking about it more.
That's great. The thing is that what people don't realize is that, again, you have work done and you want to maintain it, which it can be in the processes that we use. But then we have like a pandemic or,
Mhm.
a recession, right? I mean,
Sure.
we knew a recession was coming. We just didn't know it would be coupled with a quarantine, right?
Right.
So, you know, and, and then, things that are coming up to be healed, like Black Lives Matter.
Yes, absolutely.
All of these things and all of these components, as people are really feeling into it or not, right? You've got to be able to stay clear so that you can be in your knowing and your intuition. I often say, and Mark may agree with me on this, I have a feeling he will. Really, what our work allows you to do is to be objective,
Yeah.
because most of what we need to be healed from causes us to be reactive.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, kind of the clarity and, being clear, being at a higher vibration instead of being the shame, guilt, anger. Okay, that's a starting point. But, as I think they frequently say, be a level or above 528 and higher, again, and that's done by conscious practices to maintain a strong energy field. And like you said, when you're clear, you'll get better information from God's source creator. You won't be listening to all the static out there, spiritual static that's there. It's quite a bit right now. And discernment, you'll just kind of know. And I think that's very important, that the inner knowing, I think is going to be all the more important, because we're going to be through some probably crazy times for an extended period of time. And I think there's not going to be a clear roadmap for people, maybe like I talked earlier, that got displaced from a job, like how to move forward. But if you tune into your intuition, you're going to get those hits and be the next step, and keep going.
Absolutely. That's why I was going, yes. And this is the thing. And I know that, and Mark will probably, again, agree with me on this. Not that I've given him $1 to do it or anything, but I'm going to guess, is because it is accelerating. So when we're talking about the work, and I'm sharing like Mark's series that he's sharing is probably not like hours and hours and hours and hours. It's quick. It's because one, that's what people's lives are requiring, but two, it's all you need. That more is better. It's not necessarily what's going on here. And, like I know like Mark and I, we don't get to talk very often, but I know we're on like the same wavelength, because we know this because of the work that we've done and what we get to see with our clients and the changes in how quickly they're happening. And then the tools that are available out there, like some of it's even, evening the playing field,
Yeah.
that it's not like, again, it's going to, I know I'm not concerned. I know Mark's not concerned, like going to put me out of a job. It's just going to enhance and again, allow me to take people quicker, higher, better, easier, than what have been in the past.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah. Anything else that you want to add, Mark? Because I'm excited to hear about his series. So again, he's got what do you have? What are we going to be offering people? I'm kind of stepping
Oh,
ahead
yeah.
here.
Okay. Yeah. So the free gift, it's just last 2 months recorded, and actually the first time I release it here on your show. It's a MP3, energetically MP3 called Clear Intuition. Okay. So as I was talking about, we know our intuition is our connecting to, God, source, creator, our inner guidance that wants the best for us and the highest and best for all concerned. So it's energetically encoded, downloaded from God, source, creator, archangels of my light team to clear people, so they have clarity in their intuition. So, they'll be more open to receiving and acting, because many of us receive intuitive messages and go, that's too weird or too coincidental. And it's often the universe pointing us in a direction. It's usually not the whole puzzle, but it's usually an important next piece. So that's what this MP3 will do, clear intuition.
And that's beautiful. How long is it, Mark? Just out of curiosity.
About 10 minutes. And
Okay. So
yeah,
there you go. So we're not talking, like
no,
hours and, because I hear old school healers talk all the time how they, have to block off all this time. And I'm like, oh, I don't know if I could do that. And so I'm so grateful like that he has something that's so quick and easy for you. Because again, this is the deal. And I often say this because I teach theta healing, right? I mean, I'm a
absolutely. Yeah.
certified instructor. I say all the time, I'm teaching you what you can do with it, and that may be new for you. But
Mhm.
I'm reminding you what you already know.
Absolutely. And I think it's always interesting because, energy medicine, everything's energy, everything has a frequency. And, yesterday on my show, I was working with a cat in France that had a yelling issue. Okay. So, that's, again, not something you're going to, see if something in pain, but no, taking the cat to the vet, nothing. And what was happening was the cat was taking a lot of the energies from the household, and actually wanting the other cat to be healed too. So, we'll wait and see the next couple days, weeks. It feels like the yelling will diminish or go away. We'll see.
I always say, like, because I got a cat right here
Yeah,
at the beginning of quarantine,
yeah,
and she's much younger, right? So Chula, who, the guest appearance, the cameo, she's 12 and a half now.
yeah,
And so, we're settled in our ways and how we do things. And, and then I have a 1.5-year-old cat.
yeah,
And there are times, and again, she's a cat too, right? So
yeah,
she's like, woo, energy's getting up. And
yeah,
then, or I always know, like when she comes, like, and sits on my lap, like during the time, like when I'm working on somebody, I'll look at them and go, oh, this is going to get juicy because Lammy has joined us. Chula's
yeah,
always here. Chula's always like the, assistant, with everything. But when Lammy comes, it's like Lammy's like, hello, this is big. So
yeah.
it's always really interesting what our animals are wanting to communicate and make us aware of. So
Oh, yeah.
again, Mark kind of helps you understand that and navigate that
Hmm.
um, really well. So when we were talking, is there anything else, Mark, that you want to add? And just so you know, like we'll be putting in the comments like the link to the clear intuition that Mark has talked about. That sounds really cool.
Yes.
And then I'm going to invite you to do my 1 minute on, drawing money to you, or drawing, if it's a relationship you want to draw to
Mhm.
you, or, income or health or whatever that is. Because all of these, again, when you getting it from somebody who's good at what they do, it's all about what's your intention.
Mhm.
And you can apply it in with that, and it makes it really good.
Powerful. Yeah.
So it's just up to you, and utilize it. Do the 10 minutes, do the 1 minute, but be consistent. That's
Yes.
all I'm going to say. Be consistent. And if you can commit, right, to 10 minutes or 2 minutes or whatever that is. Mine's 2 minutes, right? At 1 minute in a day in the evening, or 10 minutes, or start off with the one and then move
Yeah.
into the 10, whatever you feel like, that's what I always tell people. And again, be in your awareness. Be in your awareness as to how did that feel when I did it consistently, and
Yeah.
being intentional with it. And what, where am I seeing this, and how is that? And that usually motivates us
Oh, yeah.
to continue using it and doing it.
Yeah, I think important, I tell people often, just take telegraphic notes for yourself, just, to kind of track your progress. You go, because sometimes it's been interesting. I've been working with a client on something, and I work with them, and I work with them, 3 weeks later, whatever. I said, how are you with that? They go, what? They don't even remember they had the issue, so it's gone. So, just to kind of go, oh, wow, yeah, that's improved. That's great. Yeah.
And that's when you're working with a good healer, with a good modality, because I'm getting ready to sneeze on this comment. Oh, it wants to come, but it's not just because I said it, but
Okay.
but it's as if it's always been. That's what you want. When, again, old school techniques, and I've been there, done that.
Sure.
So believe me, that's why I do what I do, right? I'm sure Mark can speak from his own experience as well, is that you don't have to take all of that time. You don't have to think about it. It's what you're paying somebody else for, because you've done all you know to do.
Mm-hmm.
So let somebody who knows how to do it at a different level and a different way, and that's easier, way beyond what your mind can conceive, and allow it to happen.
Yes, absolutely.
That's the thing that makes it good. So when we're talking about being in relationships, and I feel like this is one thing that I discovered, and I feel like that this is where we're going to go. A lot of times what ends up happening is that all of a sudden we're aware that I'm attracting the same type of person, or I'm attracting the same type of opportunity, which doesn't feel good, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we don't trust ourselves any longer. We don't trust our intuition, our discernment. We don't trust our higher power, divine, whoever that is for you. And then that's where things kind of start to, go to hell in a handbasket, so to
Mm-hmm.
speak. So what we want to do is we want to forgive ourselves, because what ended up happening is that we weren't paying attention to our intuition.
Yeah.
Like when Mark was speaking earlier, what was making me laugh was, like, in February, God told me to buy extra toilet paper.
Huh.
And I went, no, I don't want to store extra toilet paper. Why would I do that? Like,
Yeah.
no. Yeah. Like I said, in like April, when I was having to stand in line for an hour before the grocery store opened up so that I could get toilet paper, I was like, always listen, even to the small things or the big things, no question. Like, if it's a big thing, I don't question it at all. But toilet paper, I questioned.
Yeah.
So, so again, we want to be able to forgive ourselves when we haven't listened to our
Yeah.
guidance, when we haven't listened to our intuition, when we want to forgive ourselves for the mistakes that we made because we didn't realize that we weren't listening
Yeah.
to our intuition, to have that discernment. We also want to forgive ourselves for not allowing ourselves to have space for discernment.
Mm-hmm. And I
And
think
yeah,
that's
go
really
ahead,
important.
Mark.
What
Please
what you said
pipe
about,
on in.
It leads me to share with the community, the importance of self-responsibility. Say, ultimately we make choices in our lives. We think they're the best choice at the time. And maybe we realize 2 years later, I guess not. And just accept what is without judgment. Like you said, beating yourself up or, forgive yourself, move on. Say, okay, this is where we're at. It is what it is. How do we take the next step forward?
Absolutely. And, again, I mean, Mark and I could keep piggybacking off of each other, right? The thing is that when we have that self-responsibility, right? So we forgive ourselves, right? Because a lot of times people have this self-responsibility and they want to, like, my copa, they want to beat themselves up with it.
Yeah.
And the self-responsibility and accountability, so we'll get those divine definitions so we can understand that, is so that we can figure out, what did we learn? Because if you can step back and get what you've learned from it, then guess what? We don't typically make the same mistakes.
Yes.
And when you can go one step further and see what the gift was and how you would like to receive that gift in a different way
Mhm.
the next time around, this is what accountability and self-responsibility will do for you. It's not intended for you to be critical of yourself and judgmental. It's intended so that you can assess, be aware, and move forward. So let's go ahead and change what prevents us from assessing, stepping back, and then to be able to move forward. Let's change, because once we do the forgiveness, then we want to be able to change what prevents us from being accountable and self-responsible. And let's also change what obligates us to be critical and judgmental of ourselves, our lives, our choices, our situations. Because really what we're looking at is objectivity, neutrality, and, a clean slate, a
Yes.
whiteboard that we can move forward from and know, because we've cleared and we've healed things, we can expound it in a different way. So if you would like all of what I've just listed here so nicely, and again, we're going to throw in, before we do that, I want an instant healing. I deserve an instant healing, and an instant healing as possible, because we always make sure those are in place before we do any work. And all you have to do, whether you're watching this live or you're watching it in a replay, so keep in mind, tag people, share it, because this is some good information that we've given and some great awarenesses that people can have, so they can have some mercy on themselves. So we're going to include that as well. Let's change what prevents us from having mercy, because we've got to give some room to be able
Absolutely.
to heal and to be able to raise our vibration. So if you would like all of those, just say yes out loud.
Yes.
Anything else that you want to add, Mark?
No, I thought that was. Can I share my experience?
Of course, yes.
Yeah, when you did the process, I felt like energy, like almost like a very gentle, like river flowing down my heart, and then kind of like puffed out, like light burst out.
Nice.
So
Thank you,
yeah,
Mark, for
so thank
sharing
you.
that.
Yeah.
You know, what's fun is that, like, next week, I'm actually bringing on another healer, who is Dr. Tanya English, who is a chiropractor as well as a healer. And where, again, the thing is that you really want to work with people who have specialties or niches, right? Because this is what they work with all day long. When you work with somebody who in generally works with things, that's what you get, is in general. When you get like with Mark, who works like with people and with relationships, and pets, it's beautiful. And what Dr. Tanya English, next week, we're going to be looking at tragedy, like how to overcome and deal with tragedy during such tragic times for most people. So, again, things feel like they're escalating for people, and we're going to get another really great point of view and experience and have some new awarenesses. So, once again, Mark, where can people find you?
Yeah, they can find me at my website at peopleandpetsenergetics.com. So you just go to your favorite search engine and enter in people and pets energetics. It'll take me to my website where you can see what I'm up to at the People and Pet Show. Feel guided, you can book a session, or you can find me on Facebook at People and Pets Energetics.
There you go. And then we'll be putting that link for the, is it clearer intuition? Clear
Clear
intuition?
intuition, yes.
Clear. And so lots of different things available to you. I always tell people, if you want to chat with me, like if you want to know more about Mark, about talking to Mark, but you want to talk to me about Mark, happy to answer any questions. I've worked with Mark, and I know people who've worked with Mark. Chula will endorse him as well, just so you know, if you want her perspective. Please, I always tell people, if I'm not your healer, if I'm not the person who can help you, I know a lot of cool people like Mark that can, that I can tell you, you know, what my experience has been, or, you know, how other people can help you. I always say, like we've said earlier, I'm not the healer for everyone. And if I'm not, I can typically, you know, and again, business, coaching, relationships, I know a lot of people. So whoever that needs to be. And so I always tell people, chat with brendab.com as a way to schedule with me, to have like a little 30-minute, you know, convoy. If you want to talk, if you have questions about theta healing, again, one of my favorite topics, love to chat about that. And, you know, feel free to connect with me. We'll also be putting in you know, draw income to you meditation as well. If that's, so again, you're going to have lots of choices. That's always great. So thank you again. Same time, same place next week. Went a little over because we started a little late because, again, Mark and I were just putting so much energy out there that we had to do a take two. So thank you for being patient with us and join with us. And please tag and share with people who you feel like would benefit from the information that we gave or the work that was done. Mark, again, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Brenda, for having me on your show. And thanks for all that either saw it live or on replay. Thank you very much for your time.
All right. Bye, Mark. Okay, let's see.